Welcome to the Patreon NHL Ice Guys show for Wednesday, November 6th. I'm Ian Cameron, and it is just me flying solo today for a pre-recorded edition of the Ice Guys for this Wednesday, November 6th. Just two games on the card. I'm doing a pre-recorded episode of the show today because I'm tending to a personal matter later today. So I will not be around, and I decided with just two games on the card, let's give Alex, Andrew, and Jimmy a day off. We all work pretty hard. It's only two games, so I just decided I'm going to do a quick, brief, short, pre-recorded show to break down the two games, at least be able to give you guys that are subscribers and members to the Patreon NHL Ice Guys content on the two games taking place tonight. We will be back tomorrow. This is just a one-day situation for me today. Tomorrow I will be back. The whole crew will be back tomorrow for our regular Thursday live show at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, November 7th, and we'll break down a big NHL card. There's 11 games, I believe, tomorrow to break down. So we're back live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. So let's give you some analysis on these two games. I only made one bet on this two-game NHL card for tonight. We'll start with the Detroit Red Wings taking on the New York Rangers. We've got New York minus 150 to minus 160 home favorites, total 6.5 in this game. Obviously, the Detroit Red Wings are in a real bad way right now. This is a team that just cannot buy a victory at this point in time. It's been a dismal, dismal stretch for the Detroit Red Wings. 1-9 in their last 10 games. The only victory was against Edmonton, 3-1 at home last week, and in a spot where the Oilers were playing the second night of back-to-back games on the road. So that's it. Other than that, it has been a mess for this Red Wings team. It's been a mess in every facet. They've given up too many goals. You look at the last 5 games, 4 of those games, they've given up 5, 7, 4, and 6 goals. Just not good enough defensively. The goaltending from Jimmy Howard and Jonathan Bernier has certainly not been up to par. But I think a lot of that blame deserves to go to the defense in front of these goaltenders that quite simply aren't getting the job done and aren't playing it anywhere close to a high level right now. The injuries on the blue line have not helped this team either, with Mike Green, Trevor Daley out of the lineup due to various ailments. It's just a team that's struggling in all facets. Their penalty kill has been pathetic. I mean, they've given up 4 power play goals in the last 3 games combined. They've given up, in their last 6 games, they've given up 7 power play goals. So the penalty kill is not going well for this Red Wings team either. Just all facets of the game have truly fallen apart for Jeff Blashill's team. You know, on the flip side, do you want to lay minus 150 here with the New York Rangers is another question you have to ask, because they're coming off a very poor showing and a poor performance Monday night against the Ottawa Senators, losing 6-2 at home. Just not lackadaisical. Not really locked in, not ready to play that hockey game. And even David Quinn, the head coach of the Rangers, kind of echoed those sentiments after that game Monday night against the Senators. So an ugly game to me, a very tough one to get a read on. I don't know if I could back Detroit right now with the injuries and the struggles they've had. At the same point in time as New York, a team I'm comfortable laying a price with in this range around minus 150. Probably not. So I'm going to pass on this game. Certainly from a totals perspective with Detroit, with the way they're giving up goals in bunches, I can't certainly look at this game under the total, but it is 6.5. Is Detroit going to score? And I did notice some odd, peculiar series history between the Rangers and Red Wings. 9-1 or 9-0-1 to the under in the last 10 head-to-head meetings between Detroit and New York Rangers. 9 unders, no overs, and 1 push. And every one of these last 10 meetings since 2016 between these two teams has had 5 goals or less. So that's the kind of series history where, you know, it's so strong that I'm not getting involved on the over here tonight in this game. Maybe you look New York Rangers team total over, because I think they could find the back of the net. I just don't know what I'm going to get really from the Detroit side of this equation offensively. So maybe you lean to the Ranger team total over. Other than that, I'm passing on this game. Not a game I'm involved with from a betting standpoint. Not a game I plan on being involved with from a betting perspective tonight either. The second game on the card, St. Louis Blues taking on the Edmonton Oilers. We have Edmonton minus 140 to minus 150 home favorites. The total 5.5 here in this game, pretty much across the board. Unbelievable win for the Blues and the way they won last night against Vancouver. 2-1 in overtime. I just when you think you've seen everything in the world, in sports, in whatever, in life, just when you think you've seen it all, you've seen everything. You know, I've been on this planet now for 34 years. You think you've seen everything now. I see something I've never seen before last night in that Blues Canucks game. A 3-on-0. That's right, a 3-on-0 rush in overtime for the St. Louis Blues, leading to the Jaden Schwartz overtime game-winning goal to beat Vancouver 2-1. A 3-on-0 rush because two Canuck players collided into each other in the defensive zone, or in the offensive zone, I should say, wiped each other out. Then there was one guy who was stuck in the corner trying to get back feverishly, but it was too little too late, and it ended up being a 3-on-0 rush for the St. Louis Blues, and that's how they won in overtime with a 2-1 win against Vancouver. Now, I had the over last night in that game, and obviously we never sniffed a win with that. In fact, part of a rough night for me on the ice, but hey, when you're betting this kind of sport, NHL, and it's an every single day sport, you're going to have nights like that. And if you can't accept that you're going to have nights like that, you're in the wrong business. You're going to have a bad night or two or three or four. Last night was one of those. And one of the losses was St. Louis, Vancouver over for me. And it was never close. That being said, and this is where you've got to really stick to your guns and not let one individual loss or one individual handicap that ended up not going correctly, not going the way you thought, cloud your thinking or judgment for the next game involving that team. So yeah, I lost with the over with St. Louis last night against Vancouver. I'm going to come right back with St. Louis over the total tonight against Edmonton. This is my one bet on the card tonight. It's St. Louis, Edmonton, over 5.5, -110. And here's why. It's a very, very simple, very good, and very specific reason why I'm on the over again with St. Louis tonight. 2 words, Jake Allen. Yes, Jake Allen will be in net tonight for St. Louis. They'll give Jordan Binnington a rest. He was in last night against Vancouver. And Jake Allen, at this stage of his career, is nothing more than a way below average goalie. I can't remember the last time we got a game where Jake Allen absolutely shut down an opposing team offensively. I can't even remember when. And you look at his 3 starts this season. What are his numbers? 3.72 goals against average, .855 save percentage. Not very good numbers. He's allowed 3 goals or more in each of his 3 starts. The over has cashed at a perfect 3-0 clip in Jake Allen's 3 starts this season. 6-4, 5-2, and 4-3 were the final scores in those games. So I don't trust Jake Allen. Simple as that. Against an Edmonton team that I know defensively, they've been strong. Offensively, it's dried up a little bit for the Oilers. They only scored 2 against Pittsburgh. They only scored 1 in their last game against Arizona. But the Oilers have talked about trying to get their offense going a little bit here in this game tonight. I think they have a chance to do that here against Jake Allen, who, again, his numbers this season aren't good. His numbers last season weren't very good. The over is cashed in each of Jake Allen's appearances in net this season. And on the flip side, I think St. Louis will find the back of the net a little bit more, because it is worth noting. A nice little stat here in Trent with St. Louis. They're 2-0 to the over on the second night of back-to-back games, and they've scored 4 or more goals in each of those 2 games where they were on the second night of back-to-back games. So they've had no problems this season on back-to-back nights finding offense in the second half of that back-to-back swing. 4 goals or more in each of those 2 games where the Blues have played on the second night of back-to-back games. So I think they will find the back of the net as well here in this game. And I think Edmonton's got a good chance to get, an offense that's, struggled to produce a little bit in recent games. I think they have a chance to bounce back here against a goalie in Jake Allen that I don't trust. And we've also seen the Blues give up goals second night of back-to-backs. Remember, one of those back-to-backs was against Detroit. They won a Detroit team that's been miserable, especially offensively lately. And St. Louis in that second night of back-to-back games when they played Detroit, they won that game 5-4. Gave up 4 goals to Detroit in that game. So I think the ingredients here, mix them all together. I think it makes sense here, in my opinion, to look at this game over the total. Again, it's 5.5 -110, very cheap total as well in 2019 NHL when you're talking about betting it over. So give me St. Louis, Edmonton over 5.5 -110 here in this game between the Blues and the Oilers. All right, that's going to wrap up the show. And as I just mentioned, my only bet today, it's a very small card recap. 1 play, hopefully 1 winner. St. Louis, Edmonton over 5.5 -110. That'll wrap up this pre-recorded edition, the Patreon NHL Ice Guys. We will be back at our normal time, 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Thursday for another live show with the entire crew as we break down a big Thursday NHL card. I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the Patreon NHL Ice Guys. Have a great Wednesday night. Good luck with your wagers on the ice. We'll see you again tomorrow.